Hi, okay, so we decided to do our group lesson plan on gardening and springtime tied together to create lessons that would best benefit a preschool classroom. So throughout this video, you were able to see 3 lessons that we came up with throughout this topic and see more in depth within that each lesson plan to see the standards and the goals and the adaptations and all the things that go into a lesson plan. The first lesson was Kara and Paige. They talked about the dramatic play area within the classroom. This is important because students learn how to participate as a group, as assigned roles, and an overall plan. But this is also meaningful because it not only covers academic learning goals, but also allows them to practice good communication and cooperation with their peers. For our second lesson, we saw Gemma and Maggie do the song and dance, and it was actually so much fun because Gemma created the song herself. But this is a way that students are able to not only learn, but it's good for their locomotor skills like balance, coordination, and control, which will benefit their overall growth physically. The students were able to learn the song and dance about the aspect of a flower. So that was super fun and would be very engaging for students.
Hi, my name is Kendall Peltani, and for this project, my group decided to do a gardening unit, which includes like flowers, plants, seeds, in the springtime in general. And we decided to do this because we thought it was like a fun way to get children outside, but also learning a lot at the same time. And developing like outside knowledge about like nature and springtime at a young age is super important for kids to like grasp the idea.
Kind of wanted to talk about one of our lessons that we did this week, and it was kind of inspired from the dramatic play they did on the beach, and I thought it was very fun to see them explore and create different materials with like boxes and that kind of thing. And so I thought that now their interest is like flowers, so we could do a dramatic play area on flowers. The purpose is that children will be able to learn to think of what they need, like the materials to carry out a goal, and the children will be able to create a plan and assign roles for their pretend play. We kind of did a whole group lesson when we were trying to figure out what kind of materials and roles would be needed, and then it was more of like a free play small group when they actually did it. The materials that the kids came up with on a chart were some plastic pots, variations of fake flowers. They even thought of maybe making their own signs and recycled flowers and that kind of stuff. They thought of a cash register, watering cans, a phone to take calls, ribbon, and plastic vases. So the roles they kind of had were customers, phone orders, cashier, florist, and a gardener. The costs were all kind of from the dollar store. There's really cheap things, and you don't have to get that much for kids to enjoy it. The kind of questions we asked throughout were like, what materials would you need to make the flower shop? What kind of roles would you need? And what are some reasons for customers to go to a flower shop? So the procedure we kind of went through were we created a chart during circle time. We asked them what we would need. Then we personally went and got the materials, or during free time they went and made signs, and they made their own layout of how they wanted the dramatic play area to go down. And they really enjoyed it. So the adaptations we can do is take away the money aspect if it's too challenging, or we can challenge them by adding small groups to create signs for the flower shop. The way we kind of assessed them was if they gave examples of materials or roles they needed, or they just like understood what we were doing. And if the objective is met, they also participated in play and they asked appropriate questions and responded correctly. So this is kind of what we did this week, and they really enjoyed it. So now Paige is kind of going to talk about what you could do to make it your own at home. So
Hi families. So with the materials that you've seen listed, all of these things can be found in your home, the Dollar Tree. Don't feel like you have to go out and buy anything. You can use recycled materials. The point of this activity is to get the cogs going and to think about how we use plants in different ways. So once you have your flower shop facilitated, you can be the customer and you can be the one asking, hey, what's this? How much is this? If you want, you can assign money as a challenge. You can take it away if that's not something that you want to do. It's all very customizable, and your child is just playing. And that's the fun of it. Play is super duper important. And when you can do that at home with your child, you're adding on that good quality time too. Thank you, families, for incorporating play into your homes with your children during COVID time. Even though that we cannot be with your children to do this activity with them, you certainly can. They will get things out of it. So yeah, thank you so much. Kara, thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Hello. So for this lesson plan, our topic was flowers, gardening, and plants. So this lesson plan is by Gemma, and it is about the growth and parts of a flower, and it's a dance and song. So the rationale of this lesson plan is a good way to get kids up and moving. They will be able to use their bodies to learn the parts of a flower and cycle that they grow. This will work on balance and coordination through the moves and connect them to the parts of the flower in an engaging and memorable way. So, some questions that can prompt this is, do you know any parts of the flower? What do the stem and roots for the flower, what do they do? What would happen if a plant did not get enough water or sun? Or what did this song teach us about flowers? You can incorporate this before with the questions about, like, do you know any parts of a flower? And the ones about what did the song teach us, we can do those after.
So what I'm going to be talking about is our objective. And our objective is also known as our purpose. So what we want our students to be able to do at the end of this lesson. And it's something that's measurable that we're going to be able to look at through assessment. So our objective for this lesson was that the children will learn and repeat words and motions of a new song after watching the teacher. Since we weren't in the classroom for this specific lesson and it was more of an at-home thing, this means after watching the video of me and Maggie teaching and explaining the song and dance, or if the parents and families at home learned it themselves and were teaching it to your students, then through them watching and doing it with you. The way that we're going to talk about how our objective is met could look a little bit different at home, but the way that we had thought about it was that we would have them focusing on the teacher to make sure that they're doing the motions correctly, so watching the video intently and making sure they're listening to the words and all of the motions and doing them correctly. Confidently singing the words and following along with each motion. So making sure that they are confident in what they're saying and they're not messing up words or making things up on their own, as well as singing it on their own time. So if you hear them around the house and they're doing the motions or singing the song on their own time, or teaching it to siblings or other people and talking about it, that would be a good way that we could measure our objective and for a good way to assess it at home. Alright, so we are going to be talking about our procedure. If we were in the classroom, this would be taking place during our morning or afternoon meeting in our large group setting. Since our lesson is a song and a dance about the parts of a flower and how they grow, we first want to review those things. So here I have a nice little drawing of a flower. And these are the parts that we talked about in the song. So we have our stem, which is right here, which is holding up the flower. Then we have our leaves. I drew 2 leaves here, but they can have way more than that. And then we have our petals, which are sticking out at the top, and they can be all sorts of different pretty colors and different shapes and sizes as well. So these are our parts of our flower. Then the second part we're talking about is the process from seed into that nice flower that we just saw. So we have our seed, which is right here. Those are the seeds that we plant into the ground. And then when the sun comes out and our rain is coming down, then we go into our seedling and the little sprout starts to come out. We can see the green there.
And then we go into our mature plant. There's no flower yet, but we have our leaves and our stem and then the roots in the ground. And then our flower blooms and we have our beautiful flower with our petals and our leaves, and it all comes together. So, after we review the parts of our flower and the process from seed to the blooming flower, we're going to get ready to do our song and dance. So, we've recorded the song and the dance in the process, learning the lyrics and all the motions, and then we have it so that you can do it along with us. So first what you're going to do is make sure you have nice space around you and you're not too close to anybody, so that you have nice space for you to practice your dance. And you're going to watch through the video so that you can learn the words and learn the motions, and then you're going to do it along with us.
Okay everyone, so now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be showing you the moves to our new song, okay? And I'm also going to teach you the words. We're going to go through them, we're just going to talk through them and the motions that go along with them. And the words are also going to be listed at the bottom of the video so that you can see them as well, okay? Awesome. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a nice big open space so we have space to move. And first we're going to go down on the ground and we're going to curl up in a little ball like a seed. So down on the ground, we are a seed. Then the rain comes down. So we move our hands down like this, like rain is coming down. And then the sun comes out and we move our hands like this to show the sun is coming out. Then hands on our knees, and now we are a seedling. So we're here with our hands on our knees, still bending down because we're not a big flower yet. Then we're going to go up, up, up as we sprout. And here are our stem and our leaves. Now come our petals, and we're going to put our hands up to our face like this for our petals. That's the end. Now I'm a flower, and you can dance around in your new flower. Awesome job, guys. Go ahead and give it a try.
Okay, so now I'm going to show you the dance that Gemma just taught you. So first, down on the ground, we are a seed. Rain comes down, sun comes up. Then on our knees, we are a seedling. Up, 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 we sprout. My stems and leaves. Now comes my petals, that's the end. We are a flower.
Today we are going to be doing the lesson plan of dyed flowers. So our rationale for this activity is it should help us make predictions and observe objects from nature and how they work. Children will be able to understand what the function of a stem is and what its purpose is and its importance. The purpose and objective of this activity is the students will be able to describe the function of the stem by completing the simple investigation, and they will become masters at making predictions. So you are going to start with a cup of water. You need white flour, food coloring, paper, a pencil, and scissors. So you're going to start with your flower and cut some of the stem off. So I did this yesterday in preparation for this, so it's just a little shorter, as you can see. And then you set your flower, after it's been cut, into a glass of water. I did about 3/4 full. You can pick whatever color you want. I chose blue. So then you put your white flour into the cup, and you're going to wait 24 hours. But as you're waiting, you're going to want to ask your student or child, what do you think is going to happen to the flower? Ask them to make some predictions. So what do you think is going to happen to the flower? You can ask them to observe what it looks like right now and write down what they think to make some observations. And then you can also ask them what they think the stem's job is, like as of now, if they really understand the importance of it. So, after you wait your 24 hours after putting your flower in your colored water, you should see your colors starting to come through. My blue is on the ends there. And then you are going to, on the same piece of paper you wrote your previous predictions on, you're going to write
your observations, what you see now after the 24 hours has passed. And then you're going to re-ask, now what do you think the stem does? Obviously, we see the blue water goes up through the stem and was produced into the white petals of the flower. So then you can go into a little lesson on that, what the stem does, and you're done with the procedure part.
So for adaptations, for if your child is struggling, what you can do is you can help your child with the procedure and help them understand how the colored water goes up through the stem of the flower and reaches the flower petals. You can give them a demonstration of you doing it. So for instance, tell them like, take a cup of water and bring a straw and put the straw in the water and show them you drinking the water through a straw. Then help them understand how that is like a flower. So a straw acts like a flower stem. They're both getting sucked up to the top. So from this water cup to the straw to my mouth is just like from the water cup through the stem to the flower petals. And that's how it gets its nutrition. For a child that needs a challenge during this activity, a good thing would be to take that flower when you're done and cut it through the middle. So flip it upside down. Flip it upside down and you can see this tiny hole. If you cut that in half,
Hi, my name is Katie Benomini, and in our gardening unit, my group decided to do 3 lesson plans. One is a song and dance, and we basically just sing about the parts of a flower and how it grows, and it's a fun way to learn about plants. And then another one is a dramatic play area, and we will pretend like we are in a garden and flower shop and sell flowers and stuff like that.
Our last lesson plan created for the Gardening in Spring unit was done by Lauren and Brandy. As displayed, they created a lesson where students would be dyeing white petal flowers to understand how water travels through the stem to transfer nutrients to the rest of the flower and petals. This was a really fun activity, also demonstrating the standards in the cognition and general knowledge domain. The standards asked that the students be able to make predictions, observations, and engage in investigations. They practiced all of these by watching how the colors traveled through the stem and up to the petals. They were also able to explore the materials such as the flowers, water, and different colors in the same lesson, enhancing their knowledge and creativity. Thank you so much for your time and watching and listening to our topics and lesson plans in the Gardening in Spring unit.